say to the whole world, India will identify and punish every terrorist.
Pakistan has credible intelligence that India intends carrying out military action against Pakistan on the pretext of baseless and concocted allegations of involvement in the Pahalgam incident.
We still don't really know who perpetrated last week's hideous terrorist attack in the famously picturesque Kashmiri town of Pahalgam, leaving 26 Indian tourists dead. The attack initially appeared to have been claimed by a hitherto little heralded Islamist militia trading as the Resistance Front, though they have since denied everything and attributed the misunderstanding to the hacking of one of their websites. We can, however, be reasonably sure that whoever did do it was aware of, and therefore likely desired, the possible consequences of such an outrage. Another conflict between India and Pakistan over one of Earth's most contested and most complex territories. Since the attack, there has been sporadic sniping between Indian and Pakistani troops in Kashmir. By way of further fanfare, India has suspended the 1960 Indus water-sharing treaty with Pakistan, to which Pakistan has responded by suspending the 1972 Simla agreement that commits the two querulous countries to settling their manifold disputes peacefully. It is a prospect jangling nerves much further afield than Kashmir.
The exit polls predicted a BJP landslide, but the Indian voter had other plans. Modi returns, but no majority.
India is led by a bellicose nationalist whose grip on power, as of the most recent general election, appears to be slipping.
Never heard of that organization which orchestrated this whole terrorist attack. Lashkar-e-Taiba does not exist in Pakistan anymore.
Pakistan is governed, now as ever, at least in part, by a military and an intelligence service which are widely believed to have, at the very least, shadowy links to Islamist militants at large in Kashmir, and who employ the unlikely prospect of conquering Kashmir as justification for their demands on the public purse. Both countries have a long and inglorious history of using the Kashmir issue as a rabble-rousing rallying cry. Both countries have nuclear weapons. The international rules-based order is not what it once was. As nightmare scenarios go, it's maybe not quite up there with Russian tanks rolling into Estonia or the People's Liberation Army embarking for Taiwan, while an indifferent American administration busies itself imposing tariffs on penguins, but it's not far off, and it is actually happening.
But the national flag, the saffron, white and green tricolour, was publicly unfurled. And for the rest, it was crowds, 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 all rejoicing over the birth of the Dominion of India.
As to how we got here, your attention is directed, inevitably, to the partition of what had been the British Raj in India at independence in 1947, which remains an archetype of the solution which caused vastly more problems than it remedied. Very long story, extremely short, to address the fact that there were parts of India which were mostly Hindu and parts which were mostly Muslim. What had been the Raj was divided between Hindu India and Muslim Pakistan, although such was the distribution of the faiths that Pakistan was established as West Pakistan and East Pakistan on opposite sides of India. In due course, West Pakistan and East Pakistan went to war with each other, and East Pakistan has since been Bangladesh, though we are at this point already in danger of drifting into a whole other explainer. Back in 1947, Kashmir was kind of the problem in microcosm. The princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, as it was known, had been established after the First Anglo-Sikh War ended in defeat for the Sikh Empire and victory for the forces of the British East India Company in 1846. A reminder that the early stages of Britain's imperial conquest of India were undertaken by a private corporation. Having conquered Kashmir, the East India Company sold it to a pliable Maharaja, Gulab Singh. In 1947, the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir was Gulab Singh's great-grandson, Hari Singh. Singh was a Hindu, most of his subjects were Muslims, and his original hope was that equilibrium might be maintained, along with the lavish lifestyle to which he had become accustomed, by preserving Kashmir as an independent monarchy, serenely separate from both Pakistan and India. This notion lasted as long as it took for Pashtun militias based in Pakistan to load up their trucks and charge towards Kashmir's summer capital, Srinagar. Hari Singh recognised that the game was up and plumped for accession to India, which duly fought the invasion off, but not all the way back to whence it came. In 1949, Kashmir was partitioned within partition. Pakistan kept the northwest, India kept the southeast. Confusing matters further, China bit off a few chunks of Kashmir during the 1950s and 1960s. Two further decent-sized wars, as of this broadcast, etc., have since been fought between India and Pakistan over Kashmir in 1965 and 1999, and there have been any number of skirmishes, standoffs and flare-ups before, in between and since. Some of these lesser incidents have been nonetheless brutal. As recently as 2021, at least 22 people, soldiers and civilians, were killed by exchanges across Kashmir's internal border, known as the Line of Control. Others have had quirkier consequences. The 2019 shooting down of an Indian MiG-21 fighter jet over Kashmir and the capture and eventual release by Pakistan of its pilot, Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman, inspired a considerable cohort of Indian men to cultivate homages to Varthaman's extravagant moustache. There have been at least 2 documented occurrences of Indian police in Kashmir detaining Pakistani pigeons on suspicion of spying or, yes, plotting a coup. As of this recording, Pakistan is claiming that it has credible intelligence of imminent military retaliation from India, and in so doing implying that Pakistan would respond in kind. It is, at the risk of tempting fate, hard to see what decisive benefit would accrue to Pakistan or India from going round over Kashmir again, though this hasn't stopped either country before. For Monocle Radio, I'm Andrew Muller.